Emilie Blichfeldt. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. My apologies. Um, so happy to talk to you today about the Ugly Stepsister. Uh, it's a beautiful and horrific film, and I love it. It's and also very funny.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you so much. Where did you come to this fractured fairy tale, so to speak, and the telling of this? Um,
Like
how did,
where I got the idea from,
yeah,
or
yeah.
so that was actually like in a creative nap. It just came to me as a light of it struck me like lightning. And I was working with a character that doesn't fit the beauty ideals for a short. And then suddenly I envisioned her as Cinderella, like fitting the shoe and everything and riding off to the castle with the prince. And then she looked down and saw that her shoe was full of blood. And she understood that, of course, I didn't fit the shoe. I cut off my toes to fit it. I'm not Cinderella, I'm the stepsister. And I really related to that. Not only do I have shoe size 11, but I've lived my fair share of trying to fit within the beauty ideals and know how, you know, horrible that can be, just both mentally and physically. And I thought, when I woke up from this dream or this not dream, but this dream state, that was just such a, I was in shock because I'd related myself to a character I never before had sympathy with, which was the stepsister. And I'm a stepsister, and I thought there must be more of them out there. And then I knew I wanted to make the film.
How, did you do any research into the real fairy tales? Because so many that we're familiar with today have been sanitized, like Snow White and Cinderella by Disney. So the versions of the fairy tales that exist in our mind mostly come from Disney, but they're very different than we've been led to believe.
Yeah, so I don't have a very strong relationship to Disney because I grew up without cinema. Like I started watching movies when I was 13. But one film I did see every Christmas was this Czech version that's a Christmas tradition in Norway and Germany for some reason to see this Czech version from the 70s called Three Wishes for Cinderella. So that was and that is more based on Grimm. Um, it does not have the hatching of the toes though. But that was in a book that I had as a child. So
Mhm.
that was the Grimm's version, and that Czech version is kind of my relationship to Cinderella. And then when I got the idea, it was from those two versions that I got the idea. So anything that would, and I did, of course, a little bit of research, but I didn't want to do too much because I wanted it really to feel. I didn't want to like be caught up in like, oh, but that was how it was told there, or that was the way it was told there. I wanted just to have this kind of feeling of the different Cinderella things. But of course, I knew the pumpkin was from Perrault and stuff. But then, the silkworms crawling, that's like a reference to the mice in Disney, because that part I've seen. And then, you know, so I just wanted to sprinkle it with these different versions, but let my version kind of be the original somehow, but make sure that there were like things in there that people would recognize to always remind them and also kind of hack their relationships to the own other versions of the story.
It really works so well, I have to say. And Elvira's journey is so relatable. We're
Right?
yeah, and were some of those beauty processes, for example, her nose correction, were were those based on real procedures that
So
existed?
everything is like based on research, but then I've twisted it since it is, I haven't been like timely or time period accurate and stuff like that. So, it's a fairy tale, so I wanted to twist it. So the whole like the nose job is the attraction she has on her face is from the 1920s, and they thought that they could mold it into shape by sleeping with this thing. But I have a bony nose, and I know that's not not how it works. Not that I've tried, but that much brain cells I have. Um, so, but I thought if they would break it and then put the mold on it, maybe it would work. And a chisel was actually one of the first tools of a cosmetic surgeon in the 1800s. They were very into the ancient Greek and sculpting and looked at themselves as like artists and sculptors. So I wanted to put that in there. Mm, yeah.
How do you balance the horror and comedy? It's I find the film also very funny.
Oh, I'm glad
Parts
you say that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, in a different sense, but it is very funny and then also horrific.
Yeah.
And the movie last year, The Substance, which I think was one of the best movies of the year, this
Mm,
film is a great companion to that because of
yeah.
exploring similar themes of beauty standards. Um, can you talk a little bit about that? That balance of horror and comedy is really difficult.
So I think, the humor for me, how it's a thing that I've been doing in all of my shorts up till now, but I've never thought of myself as a comedy writer because I feel very strongly for my characters. I have deep, deep, deep empathy with them. And but I think there's this thing where if something is so painful that it's actually funny somehow, there's
Uh-huh.
like this
Yeah.
there's self-irony or distance. I think for me, when I write it and I can see myself and I can see how stupid it was, but also how deeply I meant it or wanted to do it. And there's this like where you laugh, it's a kind of a catharsis in that, where you realize that what you tried so hard to go for, you no longer feel the need to go for anymore, right? You're free of that somehow, but there's a compassion in that laugh as well. And that's very important to me. It's not like laughing at, it's kind of laughing with her. because so it's like this balance of like in 1 second you're like, oh my God, that hurts. And the next one you can laugh or the other way around.
Right.
And I know that some of the audience members have actually come up to me and said that it hurt them when someone laughed at the scene where they felt actually very seen. But I try to tell them, please don't judge the way people react to it um, because it's actually, it's laughter is a very strong emotion, and you often go to it as well when you don't know what to do either. With
Mhm.
crying and or being angry can be harder to get to, and I think laughter is like a good first step.
Your film is also so well cast. I mean, you know how important that is. And your lead actress who plays Elvira, Leah Myron, I believe it's her
Yeah.
name, is fun. I think she's looks very beautiful in real life. So what did you do to fit her into an ugly stepsister role so effectively?
So I think the most important thing to say is that when I was looking for Elvira, like anyone could play her because we're all stepsisters. So if you're not like a model or like a beauty ideal or the beauty ideal, which is very few of us, you could be her. But it was sad for me to not be able to like cast a naturally chubby girl, for example, but I didn't want to ask a young actress to lose weight. That's like everything I'm against. So so I needed to find someone who would fit somehow within the beauty ideal, but that still could have this like otherness about them. And I think Leia, fits that perfectly. And also her ability to, because she's not like, she's one of the most healthy young women I've ever met in the sense that she's not self-objectifying. She's free of that external gaze, or she hasn't put it within her. And you can see that in her performance, right? That she's not kind of controlling or holding back or thinking of what people will think of her later. She's just so committed. She's so in it. And I think that's just so beautiful that, such a beautiful paradox that I needed someone who was actually the polar opposite of Elvira to portray her. And the way we kind of made her up is like we just gave her the things that would be the things that maybe wouldn't fit today's beauty ideal, but we all think that she's the most beautiful in the beginning.
Well, thank you so much. The film is wonderful, The Ugly Stepsister, and I hope you remake all the fairy tales through your lens. I'd love to see it. Seriously, what the film has to say, I think, is really important, and it's also very entertaining.
Oh,
So thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Chris. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.